What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Smoking Beard. Today we got a great one for you. Not only are we going to be smoking some baby back ribs, but we're going to be doing a review on Bone Suckin Sauce. There are two new flavors, Sweet Southern and Hot Sweet Southern. So stick around. Alright everybody, we are ready to go with these ribs. As you can see, I already have a couple of racks of ribs here trimmed up and ready to go. So we're going to take those and just bring them over one at a time and start getting them ready for to get on the smoke. We're going to season them up and I'm going to show you how to do that. First, I like to take just regular yellow mustard. Now just take a little bit of that and hit. And I just take a brush. You can use your hands, but you can just take a brush and you just brush that in and get just a really light, thin coating of mustard. Now you can use any kind of binder that you want. Some people like to use just a barbecue sauce as a thin coat of a barbecue sauce as a binder, but I like mustard just because of the tang, a little bit of bite. And it is a really good binder to hold that seasoning on. So we're going to brush that in really well. Got a little bit extra on this one, but that's alright. And just like everything else, make sure you get both sides of your meat, even on this back side. Want a little bit of that because we're going to season both sides, even though some people don't necessarily do a whole lot on seasoning on the bottom side. We are going to put a little bit of seasoning back here. And like I said, just get a really thin coat on there and get it brushed in really well. Alright, we're ready for some seasoning. We're going to flip those dudes back over. Alright, so the rub we're going to be using today is Bone Suckin Sauce's all-purpose seasoning and rub. And so we're going to be using this, but it does not have a sweet base. So before we apply that rub, I'm actually going to take a little bit of brown sugar. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of brown sugar on these ribs. Just to get a little bit of sweetness in there. Just rub that, pat that into the mustard. That way it sticks a little bit. A little bit on the back side of this one. Alright, and now we are ready to apply our rub. Alright, now that we've got our brown sugar on there as a little bit of a sweet base, we're going to go ahead and apply the Bone Suckin Sauce all-purpose rub. And just as with any rub, you want to make sure you get a really good liberal coating on there. And then I also like to hit it with just a little bit of smoked paprika. We're going to rub that in. Alright, just rub that in really well on those ribs. Flip it over. And we'll hit them again on this back side. And when it comes to rubs, you can use anything that you like. Any kind of a bottled seasoning, or you can make your own, which I do a lot of times. Really like to do that. But you can use whatever you like. A little bit of brown sugar, salt, pepper, garlic powder, maybe a little onion powder. That goes a long way to really make a good rub for ribs or for pork or anything like that. Alright, we're rubbing that in really well. right, those are done. We've got a couple more half slabs to season up, and we'll be right back. All right, our Ace Smoke portable pellet grill is set at 225 degrees. It is fully up to temp, so we're gonna unlatch it, open her up. And because of the size of the ribs, I am going to be using a rib rack today. So at first, it's gonna be a little tight in there just because of the size of the ribs. These are some really meaty baby back ribs. We're gonna lay those in the slots. And as that fat renders out, these will thin up a little bit, giving them a little bit more space in there. I also do have a couple of trim pieces. As I trim the ribs, we're gonna just lay those in here on the rack. Those will be a nice little piece of meat candy here in a little while. Now that we got those ribs in there, we're gonna shut the lid, latch it up, and we'll see you in about an hour when we do our first apple juice spritz. All right, it's been about an hour, so we're gonna go ahead and open up our grill. And I did go ahead and switch these out. Our rib rack was just not giving them enough room to get the kind of smoke that they needed. So I went ahead and laid them out on the griddle top. We're gonna go ahead and give them a spritz. This is just apple juice. I'm gonna give it a quick spray. We can get our sprayer going. There we go. You're just gonna give a good coating of apple juice on these ribs. And that is going to just give them the ability to brown up and get some really good color on there. Also, it'll impart a little bit of flavor. And that is about it. So we're going to close this back up, latch it back, and we'll do this again in about another 45 minutes to an hour. All right, it's time for another spray. Open her up. Oh, those are looking really good. Give them another quick spray. Should be the last one we need to do before we wrap them. All right. Those look really good. And this meat back here on the back should be pretty close to being done. All right. We'll see you in about an hour when we are ready to wrap them. All right. We've got the ribs off. I've already wrapped up 3, but as soon as you see the meat start to pull back from the bone, those are ready to wrap. So we're going to go ahead and wrap these. Set those right down on our aluminum foil. We're going to hit them with another spritz of apple juice just to have some moisture. And then we'll just wrap those up. You don't have to wrap them up very tightly. You want to wrap them up just snug. Enough to hold that moisture in as it cooks, because we're going to put these back on the grill. All right, and they're ready to go. All right, now that we've got the ribs wrapped up, we're going to go ahead and open it back up. I've cranked up the temperature to about 325, and at this point you can just lay the ribs in there. They can stack just a little bit like this if you have that need for space. If not, it's no big deal. You just move those in. But with this grill, we don't have a lot of extra space, so we're just going to go ahead and overlap those a little bit. Basically just getting them to where that heat is going to finish cooking the ribs. All right, we're going to leave those in there for about an hour, and we'll see you then. All right, we've unwrapped the ribs. We've put them back down on the grill. Now we're going to give them a layer of sauce, and I've turned down the pellet grill to about 200 degrees. That'll let that sauce set. So we're going to start off with some of that Bone Suckin Sauce Sweet Southern. We're just going to brush on a layer. give that just a really good coating. Make sure you get the edges of those ribs. And you can hear that sauce is dripping off and hitting that heat plate underneath, just sizzling. Love that sound. All right. So we just about got that layer on. Somebody's in trouble. Hope it's nothing too serious. All right. And then for this last slab, we're actually going to take the bone sucking hot sweet southern. We're going to give it a brush on there. Not everybody in my household likes hot spicy, and this sauce has actually got just enough heat to be delicious, but it's not overpowering. And if you're wondering how I know that, I stole a taste before we started putting it on the ribs. All right, so now we've got all of our ribs glazed. We've got that heat turned down to about 200. We're going to close this up, and here in about 20-25 minutes, we're going to come back out. I'm going to give them a flip. I'm going to brush the bottoms of them, flip them back over, and touch up the tops, and then they'll be done in about 30 more minutes after that. We'll see you soon. All right, we've got our ribs off the grill, and don't they look great? That sauce is just shining on there. Nice coating. We're going to cut into these, check out that smoke ring, and then we will give it a taste. So you just find that bone. We're going to just give it a slice right here. Oh yeah, that is gorgeous. Look at that smoke ring. Look at that smoke ring and that juice. I don't know, can you see that? Look at that juice just pouring out. And that's the spicy, that's the sweet southern hot. I'm going to cut into these here. Look at that. All that smoke, that juice, a little layer of fat in there. It looks so good. All right, let's give it a taste. All right, we're ready to taste test these ribs. So we're gonna start off first with the sweet southern, not the hot. And like I said, look at that rib. The sauce is glistening on there. Just gonna give that a bite. Oh my gosh, so good. That sauce is so sweet. Perfect. Just pulls off the bone easily, but not too easy. It's got a good bite to it. So juicy. So let's give a taste to this sweet southern hot. Look at that bone. Pulled off so good. Just the right amount of spice. Not too hot, but just enough that you know it's there. Thanks for checking out our video today. Do us a favor, go like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell. In the description, we're going to have the link for Bone Suckin Sauce, so we hope you enjoy. Until next time, keep the smoke rolling.